Well, hey Rob, what are you doing today? Aren't you supposed to be at work? Oh, well, yeah, but I got this issue with the serpentine belt, and I had to get this thing off. And I got to figure out how to get the new one back in. It's bullshit. Okay, so I had to do an automotive repair today in between shifts, and I wasn't really able to document it at the time. But I did want to make a video about this because this was something that I tried searching for. And while this may seem like it should be a very simple operation, in my particular case, this particular vehicle, there was basically nothing. The only one I did find was a guy saying that you had to take the motor mount off. So I'm going to show you why that's not the case. So what this is the serpentine belt tensioner for the 2005 Chevy Classic 2.2 Ecotec. This is the piece that came off. So first my belt started squealing. I thought maybe it just needed a new belt. Went to change the belt, and this thing snapped and crackled while I was releasing it, and it never had tension again. So what I ended up doing is I used this 3/8 inch breaker. Find my 15. This 15-inch box wrench, which my old man back in the day had this ground down a little bit for some extra clearance. Didn't really need that. And then I believe the other one that I used was this 19, and that was just for an extra length. So I'll show you what I did. As you should be able to pretty clearly see, there is one shiny silver piece. And if you look down in there, in the center of the frame, there is one 15mm bolt that holds that in place. Now you see these other bolts here. This is your motor mount. And the gentleman was saying that you needed to get these out to get access to that. The other way of doing it is to jack the car up, take the wheel off, and then back inside of there, you can see right there is a panel that can come off, giving access to it. But this happened to me while I was in town. I did not have my jack with me, and it was raining. There was no way. And once I got that bad tensioner off, even when I put the belt on and tried to start it, it was all flippy flappy and a bad deal. So basically, you can see the space you have there. And looking at it from the side, you can see there's a bit of space here. And you can actually just about see what you got to get at. So basically what happened was I used this to get the serpentine belt off. And of course, then I had to remove the piece to be able to get the new one to work right. Having taken that off with this, what I did was I was able to reach this wrench down into there, get it around that 15mm, if we can see the one I'm talking about. Can't really from here. Down in there. That one right there. So what I did was I got this on, reaching my one hand from this side behind to guide this on, holding it in place, using this as an extension to break it loose. Once I had it broke loose, it was real easy. What I found out was that the wrench throw area is over 180 degrees if you're coming in from the wheel well. But since I couldn't do that, I would get it on here, I would bring it down to here, and while holding it, reach my other arm under here, grabbing it, and bringing it up again. And I just did this and did this and did this. Eventually, the whole thing came out. I was able to wiggle it loose. It stayed captured because of the limited space, and I was able to carefully get it up through here without losing the bolt out of the tensioner, because you have to reuse that bolt. The tensioner does not come with the bolt. So anyways, all told, it took me less than an hour to replace the belt and the tensioner without removing any of these big boys, without having to jack that up and remove that at all. So I just wanted to put this out here for a little advice for anyone trying to do this. I'll make sure the correct make and model and everything is on there. But I wasn't really able to find anything specific to this vehicle on doing this. And everything was like Chevy Malibu 3.5 liter. Well, this is a 2.2 Ecotec, not a 3.5 V6. Totally different. Totally different. So I'll put the details in the description, and hopefully this has been helpful to someone. Okay, this is a little follow-up to the auto repair vehicle that will be attached to the end Just wanted to show you what my hands went through with this repair. This may be hard to see, but I've got a lot of scratches. All that pink and everything, slight discoloring, is all abraded skin. And the reason for that is that if the wrench falls down and hits that splash guard at the bottom, you can reach it without getting on the ground. It was raining and I was in my work uniform and I deliver pizza, which means I need to be presentable at the door. So I basically, by necessity, had to reach down under, and this meant my hand doing these things like this underneath the stuff, and then the pulleys and the belt were right here. And so this is what happens when you scrape up against those metal pulleys and the belt, like, 15 times, is a whole bunch. But as my dad used to say, if you don't have a blood sacrifice when you're doing auto repair, your repair may be doomed. So definitely there was blood. So thank you for watching. Hopefully this has been helpful. And I don't know why some of these particular models, if they're just assumed to be so easy, or it's something that nobody talks about because they want you to still take it to a mechanic. I don't know. If you do it yourself, there's always a way. You just have to be careful. Oh, by the way, if you decide you think you need to take the engine mount off to get at that, you need to support the engine from underneath by the transmission with a jack, or it will sink and then you will be hosed, because the only thing it has to lean on is the CV joints, and those are they don't really take up the full weight of the vehicle. So taking the weight of the engine on that would be bad too. So that's why you don't want to take those motor mounts off if you don't need to. You need to have that jacked up, and that's a real pain if you're in an impromptu situation like I was. Thank you for your time.